Well, originally, I was always writing ideas, yeah. I was always like brainstorming. As a kid, I used to write these like weird gothic, I don't know, I never write gothic stories now, but weird gothic, like medieval, real violent stuff as like 5-6-year-old. And someone said to my mum, I think there's something wrong with him. And they were right. But I never saw myself originally going into film. You know, as a kid, I was writing these stories, and my mum had a theory, which was basically, if a child is tired, don't just make them go to. If a child isn't tired, don't make them go to bed, because they're just going to stay. They're just going to cause havoc and stay up. So my mum would wait until she'd basically sit in front of the TV. So when I was 5, 6, 7 years old, I was watching all these feature films. I was watching all these TV serials. You know, whilst other kids were laying in bed, I was up to like 1, 2 a.m. watching all this stuff, because my mum thought, well, no point sending him to bed until he's tired. So even as a kid, I was naturally starting to understand film and see these films which no other kind of kids my age were seeing, like The Omen and The Shining and stuff like that. So I started to get an understanding of film as a kid. And I was always writing stuff, I was always interested in writing stuff. But I never saw myself originally, when I was 14, 15, 16, going into film. Originally, I was actually, though I was always writing, I originally always wanted to be a cricketer. And I had trials at Surrey and Middlesex, and then I didn't get in. And then at 16, I thought, what am I going to do now? And I was still writing something. Oh, wait, this technical college near me, they do A-level film. My brother, who's 4 years older than me, had studied film there as well. I thought, oh, I know loads about film. I love films. I know loads about films. I'm always writing stories. I know I do A-level film. So it's around 16, 17 that I suddenly, from writing my own stuff just in my leisure time, to suddenly go, oh my God, I can actually make a career. I can actually create stuff, write stuff, and people, and try and make it as a film. People are interested to look. The big changing point was I saw a film called Mean Streets. Have any of you seen Mean Streets? It's Scorsese's first film in 1973. And there's a sequence where Harvey Keitel's up at the spa, Robert De Niro's character comes in, Jumping Jack Flash by the Rolling Stones plays, and there's a camera track down the bar as Jumping Jack Flash is playing, and it's this brilliant slow motion camera track. And I'd never seen anything like that before. I was like, wow, I didn't know you could do that on film. That's amazing. And at that point, I knew what I wanted to do. I thought, yeah, I want to make stuff like that. So that was the big turning point. Yeah. I think it also helps if you. I didn't go straight into writing. I always wanted to be a writer, but I didn't go straight into it. What actually helped ground me and develop me as a writer was I worked as an editor for a year, I worked as a DOP for a year, I worked as an assistant director in theatre for a year, I even did a bit of sound, not up to your level, but in theatre for a year as well. So, those are 4 different jobs I did after I first graduated to kind of, I was still writing all the time whilst I was doing that, but it helped my understanding of what it is to actually write a script, because I could then understand how the editor would look at a script, I could then understand how the DOP would look at it, how the sound designer would look at it. So if you are looking to get into the industry, one of the main things I would say is try and get as much experience as possible in as many different roles as possible. Even if you know you want to be a director or a producer or a writer or whatever, still try and get as much experience in all those different roles, because it will help you understand that main key role that you want to get into. Because if you can understand other people's roles, it helps you with your role. The director I'm working on the horror Rancor is a guy called Dev. I can't pronounce his last name because he's Indian and it drives him mad. I can't pronounce it properly. Dev Shanmugam. Dev, if ever he watches, I'm really sorry, but he has a go at me all the time. I can't pronounce it properly. He was a director of Gamzatusi Broadway that was on cinema last year, and Rancor's the first film we've written together, because it's his idea and he got to write it. We've already booked in, if that's successful, 2 other films to actually make with him again as the director and me as the writer, because we have a good working relationship. There's other directors I've worked with who are, if I get on well with a director and they like, and the main thing is that there's a common ground, i.e. there's one director, I can't name who it is, but there's one director who I've worked with who I would never work with again, because you'd say, oh, here's an idea, we can develop this, da 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 da. He'd email you 2 days later, oh, great idea for that scene, or great idea for a film, and he'd tell you what you've just told him 2 days before and claim it's his idea. And obviously people like that, I wouldn't work with again. But there are other directors, yeah. I think if you have a good working relationship, you're good at developing stuff together. The main thing is that you have fun. That if it's their idea and you're working with them, you're having fun with them writing it, you know, and you look forward to actually the next day writing, you look forward to brainstorming, then yeah, you kind of have an ongoing working relationship. Yeah. Look at Danny Boyle and God, who wrote Trainspotting? I know Irving Welsh was the novelist, but I can't remember the screenwriter of Trainspotting. Danny Boyle worked with him for about 3 or 4 films. Scorsese worked with Paul Schrader for like 5, 6 films. You know, so I think when a director and writer find each other and they enjoy working together, you'll find they work together on a lot of films. Yeah. Because of my own stupidity legally of not checking the original contract I was shown, from that massive mistake, I then joined the Writers Guild of Great Britain, became a full member, and they vet all of my contracts. So legally, everything from making that huge mistake, which was quite a career-defining mistake, from that I learned, 1, to read everything you ever given before signing it. Don't be an idiot like me, basically. And to have all your contracts vetted. Join a union, so I joined the Writers Guild, and they vet everything for me. So that's all free of charge. They look at it, because I'm a union member, they will then vet the contract and tell me exactly what I'm signing, what I should and shouldn't change. Whenever I have any scripts commissioned of stuff I've written myself, I only pass over 2 to 3 year options. I never sign the rights over. As a screenwriter, you never ever give the rights away until they've given you either 2.5 or 5% of the budget. So no one can actually shoot your film, what you've written, until they've given you 2.5 or 5% of what the final budget of that film is, okay, before they shoot. Only ever give people option